I believe that every neurodivergent is their baseline is just we're highly sensitive people. I'm highly sensitive. I tried to get rid of that because I thought it was, a weakness. I didn't think that it had any use. But it actually, when you can tap into that sensitivity, you have deeper empathy, you have you you are more passionate about about justice and standing up for what's right, which we need more of in this world, and all these other amazing gifts that you have to offer because you can feel the other person's emotions. So when you bring that into, especially a romantic relationship, like, I believe a lot of these problems and these divorces could go down if they just were willing to open up those communications and just be a little more vulnerable, and just work on that, saying, look, I know you said this, I'm I believe that you didn't mean to hurt me when you said it, but, like, it made me really sad, or like, and I just wanted to let you know that because, like, I feel like we could have a better relationship if you worked on that with me. I'm not saying that you should never do that again, but I just want to let you know how that landed with me. And when you open up in that way, I've seen it so many times in my life, especially just like, because you can open up the doorway to not necessarily call people out, but to bring things to their attention that they may have not seen, a way to do that, and they get better. They may do it in their own way, but it creates that boundary, and we
Mm-hmm.
need those boundaries.
I want to comment on two specific things you said that I think are super key there. One is you said, I know your intention wasn't to hurt me. The greatest learning of my life, even more so than learning to accept and turn my depression into my superpower. Understanding and accepting people's intention versus what crap comes out of their mouth, for lack of a
Yes.
better word, can be the greatest gift you ever understand. Because if someone's intentions are good and their communication is poor, their actions are poor, if you can, it's not to say it can't hurt you, because it can, and it will. But like, if their intention isn't there to do that, that person, you might be able to see through the actions, right, or the comments. And
Yeah.
I've tried so hard to help others recognize that professionally, personally, in my own relationships. And I feel like if you can recognize intention, you can open up doors to communication. But that person has to also understand and be willing to listen to that, right, and not be hurtful on purpose or anything like that. So there's more to it, but understanding people's intention is huge, and it can really change the way that you communicate and have relationships. The other thing about that is, if someone's intention is not good, that person's out. That person doesn't belong in your circle. If someone doesn't have good intentions, you don't need them, because the intention, the core, is rotten. The rest is never going to be what you need it to be. So you've got to be able to kind of put a boundary and get those people out of your circle. The other thing that you said that I think is really good, and it applies to, as you said, like, especially with your partner. But I just had my third year anniversary podcast episode a few weeks ago. It was a
Oh,
solo episode, and I talked
congratulations.
about, thank you, thank you. I talked about the things that I've learned. And one of the things that I've learned is that we need to talk less and listen more. And I think that this applies to, obviously, relationships, friendships, family relationships, all that stuff. But this applies to everyone. Like,
Yeah.
if we could listen to someone who disagrees with us, if we could listen to someone who has a different point of view, and listen to understand, not listen to respond, I think we would find we have a lot more in common than we think, because everything's
Oh, yeah.
polarizing. Everything's polarizing. There's
Yeah.
nothing, you can find a source to support anything, right? You can find, with the way the internet is, the way influencers are, the way the news is, you can find a source to support anything that you want to believe, and then give these, like, reinforcements through algorithms and whatever, content you listen to and all of that stuff. But if we listen more to other people, we will build a better connection with them organically. But you've got to be able to listen to understand.
Yeah.
And people don't really have that skill set. And I feel like with social media and algorithms and just the whole digital world, it's created this ecosystem of echo chambers and polarization, when really we all really want the same things. We just want to
Yeah.
live our lives and have some peace and have some fun and relax. That's it. Like, you talk to anyone, you get the core, like, no, but very few people are like deliberately wanting to hurt one another or villainize people. But like, you got to be able to like kind of open your mind to listen to people to get past that polarization and those stigmas. And that goes with everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the thing about listening, like I feel like there's a strength there. I feel like it's the hidden master strength in a way, or at least for me, is curiosity, like that
Mm-hmm.
genuine childlike curiosity. Why do you think that? Or I'm curious as to like what I can learn from somebody else's opinion. Because like when you're listening or hearing somebody and you want to prove them wrong, all you're listening for is an opportunity to prove them wrong. Like you're not actually hearing what they have to say, and trust me, I've been in that position too. So it's like,
Me too.
because like I've done all the work on myself and I know where what I've got to look out for, I can see it in other people when they do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
and I bring that back to myself too. Like like you said, yeah, keep them out of your inner circle, but I also hold out hope for them and pray for them, because like I know if they didn't hold out hope for me, I wouldn't be here. Like I
Mm-hmm.
needed people that believed in me when I was that person, when I showed up in that way. And it took me a long time to get to where I'm at, like mentally, and being able to see people as fellow human beings that just want to be happy. They want to be free from pain, and they just don't know the best way to do that. A lot of them are chasing these things that the system is telling them they need. It's programmed in them, and that programming is working, is doing its job. But your job as a person is to really take all the evidence that's around you, so that you can make an informed decision moving forward. And there's a lot of evidence out there about, especially finances, that most people are going to be broke or close to it the rest of their lives, because they're not, willing to look at, and learn about that aspect of it, which is important, because most people are giving away their time for only a little bit of the money. And time
Mm-hmm.
is so much worth, so much more than money. That's why I'm trying to do what I'm doing, is to get all that time back. Like I want to create a business that supports my family going on down the line. It's not just because I love money. I love what money does. Like money can do things. Lots and lots of money can make change. Yeah, it's good to stand up and support what you're doing, and speak up about it. And I always encourage that. But until you have like the money and the resources to get on the platforms that you need to do that, like it's never going to go as far as it needs to go.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think with money too, like, we're just the whole capitalistic scape we live in. I would say hellscape if it was if I knew you a little better maybe. But the we live in, it literally just is, it's the rat race. It's a grind. You can never, even if you make decent money in whatever your career or your job is, like, it's that grind. Thank you for listening to this clip from the full episode of Eyes Wide Open. Please like and subscribe for daily clips and new episodes that drop every Tuesday. I appreciate you.